Are there any notices of motions for private members' bills? Are there any notices of motions for business which takes precedence under Standing Order 118? Are there any questions? I call the Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, my question is to the Minister for Roads and Regional Transport. What is the maximum level of impairment from THC considered safe to drive under Labor's new 3 strikes drug driving policy?
I call the Minister. Member for the entrance. Was it member for the entrance? Minister has the call and members will come to order. Member for Upper Hunter. You look poised. Minister.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for the question, and I hope that everyone in the House listens quietly and respectfully for this. Before I start, I want to thank Mick James, a veteran from regional New South Wales, and Andrew Joey Johns, an NRL legend, who stood with us today as Labor announced our proposed legislation to deliver a more practical and common sense approach for patients who lawfully use prescribed medicinal cannabis while maintaining strong road safety protections. Can I be really clear? This is an issue that literally hundreds of thousands of people in our state face. Veterans like Mick, people like Andrew, who have made great contributions to our state and to our nation, have struggled with medical issues that they have been looking to find a right medication that works for them. And what this legislation does is provide a practical pathway that ensures that if they are a patient who is using a prescription prescribed by a doctor, using under that direction, they are not at risk of being thrown into the criminal justice system for no reason. Now, this is giving the same respect and dignity that we give to people right across our state who use a whole vast array of medications such as opioids, endone, codeine.
Member for Kellyville. Member for Kellyville will come to order. Minister, the Leader of the Opposition rises on a point of order.
Minister, it's 129. It's a safe level of impairment. It's a fair and reasonable question.
Thank you. The Minister is being directly relevant.
Bring back Speaker.
Thank you.
If members could please come to order.
Mr Speaker, this is giving the same respect and dignity to patients who are using prescribed medicinal cannabis that we give to patients who are using opioids, benzodiazepines, a whole vast array of prescribed and over-the-counter medications which we know can impair driving. The difference for these people is
members will come to order.
The difference for these patients is that if they are picked up currently at a roadside test, not only do they face a 24-hour ban from driving, which will apply under the proposed...
Thank you, Minister. Leader of the Opposition.
Premier, it's not ridiculous. This is about road safety.
Leader of the Opposition, resume your seat. I've already ruled that the Minister is being directly relevant. The Minister can... It's not your call. It's mine. Minister.
Mr Speaker, they will still lose the right for 24 hours to drive, but they will not be criminally sanctioned unless it is the third time that has happened and they have been through that. This will provide protections that are much needed.
Thank you, Minister. Time has expired. Member for Summerhill has a call.
Can the Premier please update the House on how the government is delivering a more common sense approach for people using legally prescribed medical cannabis while maintaining strong road safety protections?
I call the Premier.
Mr Speaker, I think that's the point from the member for Summerhill, legally prescribed cannabis use in New South Wales. These are people, we heard from a veteran who'd been deployed 5 times overseas and gave evidence today on the Level 9 courtyard that he and his colleagues had been prescribed lawfully cannabis as a result of PTSD. And and believed it was crucially important in his survival in a regional community in Wagga. Now, he's not a criminal and he shouldn't be treated as a criminal. And our medical system and our roadside drug testing should not be driving individuals to opioid use and other legally prescribed drugs in our community for which there is no roadside drug testing but can impair them. Mr. Speaker, this is a common sense change to the law in New South Wales. Today we're announcing that we will introduce laws to create this common sense approach in relation to medicinal cannabis while maintaining strong road safety protections. Reform to medical cannabis and driving laws were a recommendation of the Drug Summit, where many people spoke of the need for change in New South Wales, particularly given the fact that there are over 1 million Australians who've been lawfully prescribed cannabis and more than 300,000 in the state of New South Wales. Under the reforms, drivers taking prescribed cannabis containing THC will no longer be automatically penalised under the current drug presence offence framework, but they will be told not to drive for 24 hours. The question that the Leader of the Opposition asked the Minister for Roads moments ago, I think can best be answered by the 50 nanograms per mil limit that will be on the roadside drug testing. Now, the truth is that people react differently to cannabis depending on their weight, their age, their gender. That's exactly the same as alcohol.
Members will come to order across the House.
And rather than criticising the government's proposed reforms, can I just inform the House that that is the regime that's currently in place today in New South Wales. Lower than a 50 nanogram per mil reading on the side of the road sees the police officer tell the driver to continue driving. Now, that's the regime that was in place under the Liberal Party and the Labor Party today. Under the changes that we are proposing, the driver will be told not to drive while there's further testing in relation to the sample. A common sense change to the law in recognition of the fact, Mr. Speaker, that more than 300,000 Australians that live in New South Wales are taking this because they're cancer sufferers.
Member for Summerhill, additional 2 minutes is granted, Premier.
Cancer sufferers or dealing with the range of other ailments in our system. Mr. Speaker, in addition to those changes, those who are prescribed cannabis in New South Wales will need a prescription. They will need to register with Transport for New South Wales as a prescribed cannabis patient. And, Mr. Speaker, for the first time, they will have to undertake an online educational program with much needed and important information about when to drive, when on this medication. Currently, that information is not available in a systematic way through the health system in our state. Sorry, what was that?
Member for Coffs Harbour.
I mean, if there's an alternative plan or alternative policy, please present it. But it's been 3.5 years and we've heard nothing from you, Mr. Speaker. I think the Minister for Health has hit the nail on the head. This is particularly acute problem for regional communities. Well, the truth of the matter is regional communities, and they're the ones who are telling us, in regional communities, they are, yeah, that's the point. I bet you they're telling them as well.
Could all members come to order? Member for Rockdale as well.
Where there is not access to the same level of public transport, and therefore for many people that have to drive, opioid use is preferable to cannabis use, even though the doctor may recommend cannabis use, because this is the only reason why, because opioid use is not detected on the roadside. That's not a better situation for New South Wales drivers. The last point, and I think that this is important for our judicial system, we have been told of case after case of New South Wales Police applying the law in our state, taking a case against an individual for cannabis use, the individual supplying the prescription and the case being thrown out for understandable reasons. We need a common sense, better way forward, and that's what this proposed legislation will do for our state.
Speaker, my question is to the Minister for Roads and Regional Transport. As of this morning, Transport for New South Wales road safety website on drugs and driving states, quote, "Cannabis users often don't realise their driving is affected until they're faced with an unexpected situation. It's only after they're in danger that they realise they're incapable of making a quick or correct decision," unquote. Do you still agree with your own department's advice?
Thank you. I call the Minister. Premier, Minister has the call. Members will come to order.
Oh, that was your big moment, your big question.
Members of the opposition, you've asked the question, you'll now hear it.
Thank you,
Hear the
Mr
answer.
Speaker. I thank the member for the question, and I reiterate what the Premier just said, what we said upstairs on level 9, which is that there will be an education program put together by Transport for New South Wales. At the moment, I hear stories all the time from people who go to their doctor and they get told by their doctor something that might not be quite correct about driving, that they are allowed to drive if they've got a prescription. They're not. That's not the case. So what this is doing is making sure we have a systematic piece of instruction and education for those people who are patients who need to use this medication. And I think the Premier has been really eloquent on this. We have listened to the testimony through the Drug Summit, through all of the work that we've been doing on this, about people in regional communities who are experiencing cancer, who are too scared to go and get treatment because they can't get there. And, Mr Speaker, that's not fair. We don't want people who need this medication to be treated with the stigma of being a drug user and then being caught up in the criminal justice system because they've made a mistake. Now, this system is really difficult. It is a difficult situation for people to be in. But we are taking a common sense and practical approach. As the Premier said, nothing changes at the roadside. This is not going to impact on road safety. The police are going to be...
Minister, member for Bathurst, point of order. Member for Bathurst. Member for Swansea. I'll work out what it is soon. Member for Bathurst.
Speaker, the Minister knows that there are slower reaction times and it impairs judgment. It is 129.
Thank you. That's all I need to hear. I didn't need to hear the introductory comments. You can resume your seat. I will rule on your point of order as to direct relevance, and I rule that the Minister is being directly relevant.
What was that?
Minister, Mr Speaker, I'm actually appalled by that. I'm actually appalled by that statement.
Member for Bathurst, you're on call.
This is an initiative that has come through, evidence has come through, talking to people with lived experience here.
Member for Bathurst, you're on 2 calls.
That is absolutely appalling. You are appalling. Mr Speaker, that is appalling. I ask you to withdraw that. That is disgraceful.
Members, please come to order.
Mr Speaker, our government is working to ensure that patients who are prescribed medicinal cannabis are able to get to their appointments, continue their work in a way that is respectful and dignified. If they make a mistake with that calculation, police will still have the same powers around impairment that they have always had, which is not based on a number, it's based on their assessments. They will be able to do that, and that is what we are going forward here. You're a disgrace.
Thank you. Member for Campbelltown.
Mr Speaker, my question is to the Deputy Premier, Minister for Education and Early Learning. Can the Deputy Premier please update the House on the Minns Labor Government's record school building program that is delivering 230 new and upgraded schools